All right, before we can get into anything, I first and foremost have to mention that we do have a new addition to the bookshelf. We have an initiation ceremony. Let me show you. This is my orchid. Her name is Petunia. I know, ironic. I'm just so cute and quirky like that. I came to an unfortunate realization that she is too tall. She's a stallion. She does not fit on my shelves. And I also realized that I have a lot of books that I've included in my collection. So I needed an excuse to rearrange anyway. So that'll be coming in a later video. Hello, welcome back. It's a new day, a new sleigh, and a new video where I have something to say. And before I can get into any of that, I first and foremost have an unboxing. Now hold up. Don't come at me with your pitchforks and your torches and whatever. Let me explain. So yes, recently, as I've already mentioned, I purchased Where Sleeping Girls Lie, despite saying that I would not buy any new releases until I finished all my TBR list. I know I'm a hypocrite, but I did buy that book, A, because, I have to support my fellow women of color in all of their endeavors always, A. B, because I really wanted to read the book. I finished Ace of Spades and I was like, there's no way I cannot not read her new release, So I did. I loved it. I already have a video. Insert thumbnail here of the video that I already made. Please go watch it. We are already at it's my most viewed video on this channel. It has like 180 views right now, I think, and I'm pretty excited. We also have 28 subscribers on the channel, which is super exciting because I uploaded my first video I think at the end of January, so like tentatively I've had my channel like up and running for about 3 months now, and I have almost 30 subscribers. So that's like 10 subscribers a month. And that's crazy. Like, I feel like now I can actually look in the faces of my loved ones and friends and family and say like, I'm a celebrity. No, just kidding. I'm not. Thank you everyone for your utmost support in this endeavor. And I hope to continue making great content for y'all. And part of that content is this unboxing. So when I placed my order for the book, right? The author was promoting a pre-order, that's what it's called. A pre-order campaign where if you submitted the receipt of the book that you purchased before a certain date, you could get a poster of all the characters. There's also a simultaneous pre-order campaign where if you ordered from specific indie bookstores, you would get like stickers. So I have a few. When I initially got the package, it didn't come with the stickers. And I was like, oh. So I emailed them and they were super, super helpful. They were really nice about it. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry. Are the stickers supposed to come separately? My fear was that they were in the package and I just ripped them on accident. And they were like, oh no, I'm so sorry. We forgot to send them over. We're going to send you 2 new stickers and 2 bookmarks. It was super nice. I really appreciated it. This is how they look. They're little laptop stickers, but my laptop cover is really dirty, so I want to get a new one before I put the stickers on. But yeah, so they gave me 2 of these. They also gave me these beautiful bookmarks. Can you focus, please? There we go. Look how beautiful this art is. I absolutely love it. And then the back side is just information about the book. So it was really nice of them to do that. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Anderson's Books. But at first I thought that they ran out of the posters and I wasn't going to get the other pre-order gift. I got the package on a very, very, very rainy day. I can't hold both of these, but just trust you me. It came in like this really thin little cardboard box. And famously cardboard paper products mixed with water, it's not a good combination. So I have yet to open it because I'm scared what I will find when I open it. So I just thought I'd do it here on camera. So okay, hold on. I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna hold it. Ooh. Hold on, let me open it like this. This is so good. Hold on. This is the poster that I got as a pre-order gift. It's so good. It's not warped at all. So that I was really surprised by that. I love this so very much. And I need to hang it somewhere in the studio. Maybe over here. Ew, he is on this poster. Then I can look at him and throw tomatoes at him every day. But whatever. Ooh. Okay, we're still good. Anyway, but yeah. I'm sorry. That was a side tangent to what we're talking about today. So let me get back on track. It's already been 11 minutes. So I was supposed to read this book for March because March was supposed to be like Kristen's top picks, right? Just like things that I was interested in reading, but it never got around to doing. I was a little sidetracked because I added 2 new books to my March reads, which was Wander in the Dark and Where Sleeping Girls Lie. So I had to push 2 books out of the month of March. So I thought I would be crazy and try to squeeze them into April. Without further ado, today we are talking about The Selection by Kiera Cass. Hello everyone, this is Kristen from the future. So sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled content. I know it's been a while since you've seen me. I've been kind of slacking as of late. I've been booked and busy, which is not an excuse, but I'm sorry. I'm here to tell you today that we have a new charity that I am highlighting for today, which is once again Doctors Without Borders. So right now Doctors Without Borders is providing a lot of relief to places like Gaza, Sudan, I believe also in Congo. I don't know what that loud noise was. So if you can, please make a donation. I will include, I don't think I can include links, but if I can, I will include a link. I will also be making a contribution for this video. When you make a donation to Doctors Without Borders, it of course goes to help their humanitarian relief. So they provide independent, impartial medical relief to areas, again, like Gaza, Sudan, Congo, these places that are oftentimes than not don't have the right resources and medical, devices that they need to help support the people in that area. So your donation goes a long way to helping with that goal. But what you can also do when you make a donation is search up your place of employment. And if they are partnered, like a certified partner with Doctors Without Borders, they will make a contribution that matches yours. So if you make a donation of even like $10 and your place of employment does match on contributions, then your donation gets doubled to $20. Again, I will be making a donation for this video, so if you can, please donate. If you cannot, spread the word. Doctors Without Borders on Instagram has a lot of graphics that you can share, which is really helpful. They have a lot of statistics, numbers, and statements that they are making, so that's really great. Please feel free to donate if you can. Again, if you cannot, that is also okay. Yeah, anyway, I'm so sorry. Back to your regularly scheduled program of The Selection transition. First and foremost, I have to talk about, okay, I have to get into it because I learned about it this morning on accident. Shout out to my sister. If she had never asked about the author, I would have never looked her up on Wikipedia and would have never found out that she was in a controversy when this book came out. So let's talk about it. The Selection was published in April of 2012, April 14th to be specific, but as part of a lot of marketing campaigns, publishers will give out advanced reader copies, ARC, if you will. That's a little insider trade secret, an ARC. And usually these people that get ARCs and read the book before it comes out will leave reviews on Goodreads. And Goodreads is incredibly influential in the world of publishing. Having a good rating on Goodreads is like essentially tells people whether or not that book will kind of succeed in like once it's published. So a lot of books before they're actually published, like on street on sale dates, will have reviews from the people that get the book ahead of time. So it's up to those select few people to influence the rest of the reading world, the rest of the public, as to whether or not they should read the book as well. That period when people are reading the advanced reader copies is crucial when you're trying to publish a book and like get other people to read it, right? Okay. This morning, I was talking to my sister about the series because I read The Selection and then I ended up accidentally listening to the full audiobooks of The Selection, the second book, The Elite, and then I'm almost done. I'm about, what percentage? I'm 70% of the way through The One, which is the final book in the series. I was just talking to her about the book and she was like, oh, like who's the author? So I looked her up and I looked up her Wikipedia page and there is a full tab dedicated to this controversy. So here's the gist of what happened. So on January 12th, 2012, this is 4 months before the book was officially published, right? A 1-star review of Cass's book, The Selection, was posted on the book reviewing site Goodreads and on the reviewer's blog, okay? This reviewer went by the name, if I'm not mistaken, I did like a little bit of research, but I did want to talk about it. Like It was very minimal, but so there's probably a ton of other people that'll talk about this in a much better way than I am. So I'm just giving like the gist of like kind of what I was looking at. So the reviewer, who I believe went by the name of like Wendy Darling, something of that nature, like Peter Pan themed, they gave a 1-star review. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll get into it, but some of the things they were saying were not incorrect, you know? And typically the people that are getting these advanced reader copies and are reviewing the books, these aren't just, you know, trolls on the internet. These aren't just people that are hating on books just to hate on them, right? Like, of course, I mean, as we know from Cait Corrain, some people will. But typically, all these people that are reviewing books are people that have consistently put ratings on Goodreads, are consistently reading books and giving in-depth and helpful reviews of the books that they are reading. So these aren't just like random people on the internet. This is someone that read the book and has genuine and valid critiques of it. Kiera Cass's literary agent, Elena Roth, posted a series of derogatory tweets on the social networking site Twitter in a conversation that Cass and Roth believed was private but was in fact public. Okay. Roth called the reviewer names, and both Roth and Cass discussed how best to bump the negative review down and boost positive reviews by manipulating the ranking system themselves. Unfortunately, it seems that Cait Corrain did not come up with this idea by herself. This was not something that she just like was, you know, maniacally plotting and it just like came up out of nowhere, right? This is a pattern of behavior that we've seen from other people in the industry. And this happened over 10 years before Cait Corrain famously was taken off of Penguin Random House. She lost her literary agent. She lost a million deals. What blew me, because I did find some screenshots of like the tweets that they were talking about. And, you know, I get it. At the time, the internet was new. People didn't understand how these things worked. I get it, truly. They were publicly tweeting each other. And they thought that those messages were private. They were publicly tweeting and adding each other. Obviously now, I mean, social media is so ingrained in everything we do in our day-to-day lives. So no one would be so oblivious to how these things work. And what gets me even more is that like, that was her literary agent. I'm not saying that what they did was right in any kind of way. And I'm not condoning that behavior at all. Because some of the things that they said was completely out of pocket. Again, this was one-star review. Do you know how many reviews a book can get in the span of like the entire lifetime? A lot. So shortly after all these tweets came out and everyone was talking about it, everyone was like, oh my God, what is going on with Kiera Cass and her agent? The news outlet Publishers Weekly posted an article about the incident. So let me read some of it, okay? So the article was titled, "Should Authors and Agents Weigh In on Citizen Reviews?" In the biggest recent dust-up over a 1-star January 13th Goodreads review of Kiera Cass's The Selection, brief history about The Selection, blah, 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 the war of words got heated enough that one commenter referred to a Citizen reviewer as that bitch. So one of the things that her agent said was that she recently went through all of the 4 to 5 star reviews of the book and liked them so that it would boost them higher on the page and essentially like manipulate the algorithm to push those reviews of the book before any of the more negative reviews. The reviewer they go by Wendy Darling. In her review, Darling said she didn't find a single aspect of this story that I enjoyed, and noted the story ends on a cliffhanger as if there was so much going on in this one book it could not be contained in a single volume. What I find very unseemly is that you have public figures who are on the attack with private citizens, says Darling. Certainly, these outbursts are not the way to draw fans and to protect your reputation. So this like essentially sparked like a whole controversy because not only are like, it's so multifaceted. So Goodreads, if you didn't know, Goodreads is a very popular social media platform for people that read books to leave their reviews and be honest about what they think about the books they read. Oftentimes, there are reviewers on the site that are essentially like influencers where people can like essentially follow their blog. They put a lot of emphasis and they have a very highly valued reputation amongst the community for their reviews because they are honest. So for an author to single out, because she had to have singled out this one specific review, because again, I don't know how many reviews the selection had at that time. It wasn't like she was the only review. So it's the equivalent of like, because people like the selection, okay? So right now, as of April, whatever day today is, 2024, the selection has a 4.08 rating on Goodreads, which isn't a bad, like that's a fantastic rating. I mean, they have over 1.5 million ratings and 78,000 reviews. Like, of that many, to still have an average of a little bit over 4 stars is amazing. That means that for the most part, people really enjoyed the book. They received it very well. So for her to single out a single 1-star review and publicly like bash this reviewer is absolutely crazy, especially given the fact that Goodreads as a platform is designed for readers. Authors aren't supposed to be like looking at their reviews for their own books. Because like some people obviously can't handle not having everyone love their book, and they take it extremely personally, which to some extent I understand. Like when you're a writer and you, especially if you write something that's incredibly personal or based in like your real life, and you put that out into the world and people don't like it, it can feel like an attack on you and your character, because like sometimes your work and who you are, like the line between those gets really blurred. So sometimes you feel so identified with your own book that you can't handle the criticism or some people talking negatively about the book, because to you it seems like they're talking negatively about you, which is not true. So it wasn't necessarily like the review itself that caused so much controversy, but specifically how Kiera Cass handled it, because obviously the reviewer was coming at her and they had a very heated exchange from what I can tell. Again, at the time, I was 11. I didn't know. So I'm finding out about this now at 23. So the reviewer also said, "It's very unfortunate the focus is taken off books, and now we're spending all our time focusing on people's egos. I hate it when authors do that. Instead of taking low ratings as constructive criticism to improve on next books, they just complain and insult readers." Because I think in Cait Corrain's specific situation, it was the first time where we had seen direct consequences for an author, because not only did she, like, this is a specific, it's a little different than what happened with Kiera Cass, because this was someone that had genuinely rated her book lower and like gave her a 1-star review. But she specifically talked about, and what I think this article doesn't really talk about, is that she and her literary agent conspired to manipulate the Goodreads rating system by purposefully liking all of the 4 to 5-star reviews to boost them further on the page. Because obviously the way that most social media networks work is that any comments, reviews, or whatever, the more likes they have, the further up they're pushed when you click on them, right? Like when you look at a TikTok video, the top comments are the most liked, right? So they were manipulating a rating system that they're not even supposed to have their hands in any kind of way as authors and a literary agent, and they had no repercussions for that as far as I can tell. I mean, Kiera Cass went on to write The Elite, The One. She had a whole bunch of spin-off books. She recently published, I think it was called 1,000 Kisses or something. So there were not nearly as many consequences for her as there were for Cait Corrain. I mean, Cait Corrain lost her Illumicrate deal. She was dropped by her literary agent. She was dropped from Penguin Random House, one of the biggest publishers in the world. And subsequently, because of her actions, all the people that she targeted with her 1-star bombing were elevated to a new height, to a new level, because everyone around, like the collective reader audience, decided, hey, we should uplift these new debut authors, because Cait Corrain unfairly targeted them because they were also debut authors and they were people of color. Again, so I couldn't go into this book without first talking about that, because I think it's incredibly important, and I had no idea this controversy was a thing. So thank you to my sister Bianca for letting me know so I could talk about it, because honestly, this whole video, and I haven't even gotten into the review yet, I read the selection, and after just reading the first book, I left a pretty good review. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. And I was like, the first thing I said in the main thesis of my review was like, if you don't take it seriously, it's a pretty good book. And now that I have read The Elite and I'm almost done with the one, I can confidently say Wendy Darling was right. It absolutely did not need to be more than one book. I think it could have worked really well as a standalone. Honestly, like, we could have been pushing it with a duology, but it would have, like, I wouldn't have been mad. I think that right now reading it, honestly, like, I'm losing the momentum a little bit. I'm not having the same, like, The Elite, I'm gonna say it was pretty interesting. It kind of revved up a lot of stuff, right? But with the one, it's just, let me start with The Selection. A brief synopsis of The Selection. This book has been published for almost 12 years now. The Selection is a book. It's a YA dystopian. It came out in that era. And it's essentially about a group of girls, 35 girls across the country are selected, supposedly at random, to compete in a competition where one of them will become the new queen, well, first the princess, then the queen of their country of Ilia. Ilia, aka what used to be the US. So our main protagonist is America Singer, and she's from Carolina, because there's no longer North and South, it's just Carolina. And she is selected to compete in this competition. She didn't want to be in it. She wasn't like other girls. She wasn't like fawning over the Prince Maxon, which actually I don't know what his name is. Let me explain. Okay, I have the physical book, as you've seen. I was predominantly listening to the audiobook when I was reading it, just because it's only 8 hours. It's a very short read. So I only listened to the audiobook, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure out if they're saying Maxim, like with an M at the end, or Maxin, like an N. And then it also doesn't help because there's a guard that they name in the book that has almost the exact name as him. I have to find it. I think I highlighted it because that blew me. Hold on. So his name is Maxon. Okay, with an N. But then there's a guard who I don't know why they even bothered to name him, but his name is Markson. Like, why would you name a side character that is never ever brought up again, might I add, never ever brought up in The Elite or the One, and give him a name so similar to the main character for him to not even be important? This book has a habit of doing that, where they like will bring up these side characters that really don't need to be named, or they don't need to like exist truly, and will like give them a whole story. And I'm like, sure, yeah, flesh out your characters, great. I don't really care. There's a character we meet in the One that America picks her up off the street. We get her name, we get her backstory, and America like saves her, right? And that happened like a while ago in the book, right? And I'm 70% of the way through. Never gets mentioned again. She's never brought up again. It's just so that America can seem like a nice girl, which we already knew that she was like nice and she cares about people and genuinely has sympathy for people in the lower castes. So why do we need... Anyway, The Selection is essentially, so America, right? She's picked to be in The Selection. The only reason she signs up is because she's in a secret relationship with someone from her hometown. His name is Aspen. He is, okay, so they have like a caste system where everyone is divided by number, 1 being the highest and 8 being the lowest. America is a 5, so that means that she's like a singer. Actually, that is my beef. We never get a good explanation of the caste system, and let me tell you why. America explains that she is a 5, so that means that her profession has to be something in the arts. So she's a singer. She also plays instruments. I think her sister is like a painter. Her brother's also like a sculptor or something. But so they all have to be artists of some kind. But then she also like doesn't really explain it very well, but says that like, oh, if you're in a different caste, like every caste has their own job. But it's ridiculous because once you get lower from 5, they're all some kind of like servant or just like public worker. So it's like she gave up. She gave up on the caste once it gets lower than 5. Like Aspen is a 6 and they're just like essentially indentured servants, and we just like skate past that, right? I don't know what the 7s are. I don't know what the 8s are. The 3s are teachers, I guess. 4s work in factories, and then 2s and 1s are just the rich, I guess. So yeah, we really have no good example of like the caste system. They don't really talk about it in depth, and it's because, and let me start by saying this, I'm gonna get into some minor criticisms, but overall, like, I don't hate The Selection. Without a doubt, this book is supposed to mainly focus on the romantic love triangle between America, Maxon, and Aspen, right? Like they're in a love triangle. Maxon and Aspen don't know they're in the triangle, but they're in the triangle. So when you just consider their relationship and their love story, it's not that bad. Like, it's okay. And, you know, it's no fault to Kiera Cass and the world at the time, because romantasy is a genre that has been like, well, I'm not going to say created, but like really popularized in today's world. If the selection came out in this year and was advertised as a romantasy, I think the girls would eat it up. I think they would love it. Like, no question they would love it. But I think because at the time it was marketed as a YA dystopian, it didn't really like land very well with readers, obviously, because the dystopian parts of it weren't fleshed out nearly as much as the romance was. Like, I don't understand the caste system. It doesn't make sense. And then there's also these weird chapters of like patriotism. Like America, that, right? Our main character, her name is America because her parents wanted to name her after a country that was persevering. That's the most embarrassing reason I've ever heard for a character being named a certain way. I'm so genuine. I'm so serious right now. Like, I could tell that Kiera Cass probably pitched this idea of the selection to be a romance, and then they were like, sure, interesting, yeah. Have you heard of YA dystopian? Do you think you can make that into this? Because that's really good right now. And that's why she had to make this godforsaken book. The main conflict in the first book, and the reason why I initially reviewed it, like, relatively highly, was because, like, again, if you ignore the dystopian aspects of it, it's a good romance. I mean, like, the banter between America and Maxon, and like she's not like other girls. She doesn't immediately fall for him, and like a lot of it is her like gaining his trust while simultaneously getting over Aspen, because Aspen and America have been dating in secret for the past 2 years because Aspen is of a lower caste than she is. So if they were to get married, which is also, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm just remembering so many things. This book is like really weird in terms of like women. So men cannot change their caste by marriage, but women can. So they can marry into a higher caste, but men will always remain that caste unless they get drafted. Then they will be raised to a 2. So America wants to marry Aspen. She's 17, by the way. She wants to get married to him. And he's like kind of against it because he's like, well, you would have to go down in a caste. It's so weird too because he's like, well, you wouldn't be able to sing because you're not a 5, which is so bonkers because I'm like, why can't you do the things that you're good at just because you're in a different caste? Like, I don't understand. So America's like, I would happily move down a caste. Like, we will figure it out. I am in love with you. You're in love with me. We're going to get this all figured out. The selection comes around because the Prince Maxon is now of age to find a wife. So all women, which is a huge age gap, by the way, it's a huge like range of ages. I think they said like 16 to 20, which I don't know how old Maxim is, but if he's like 17 also dating a 20-year-old, someone call for help. Aspen wants America to sign up for the selection so that he'll feel better and be like, I don't want you to give up on this opportunity for me. Just sign up. There's no guarantee he'll pick you, but just sign up. So she does. And at the sign up center, whatever, they run into Aspen's mom and his sisters. And his mom says that Aspen's been really happy lately and he's been saving money, and they think it's because he wants to propose to a girl. America thinks that the girl is going to be her. So she was super elated and she smiled so brightly and so beautifully that Prince Maxon picked her to be in the selection. When it's revealed, because it's revealed on national television that America is going to be in the selection, it genuinely made me laugh. I was cackling because she says like, I was smiling so brightly in my picture and some idiots thought it was for Max. And she specifically says some idiot thought it was for him. Like, girl, she is so mean. Like, what the hell? So America is supposed to go to the selection. She meets with Aspen one more time before she leaves, and he's like, we can't continue this relationship anymore. Oh, I think this was before she was announced. This was before. I'm sorry. I'm such a liar. They meet each other, right? And he's like, I can't see you anymore. And she's like, what are you talking about? We're in love. And he's like, no, I can't see you anymore. And specifically, like, he gets so upset, which is so crazy and absolutely gobsmacking. So her mom really wanted her to sign up for the selection as well. So part of that deal was that she would keep all the money she made from going on her own jobs, like doing like performances or whatever. So she had set aside some money. She bought food for Aspen and like set out an entire feast for them. And homeboy was so emasculated. It was insane, like literally bonkers how he responded to this. Because he was like, do you know how this makes me feel having a woman provide for me? I'm supposed to be the provider. I'm the man. That line triggered a trauma response for me. It was so ridiculous because also she was like, it's just food, babe. Like, relax. I'm just setting out a meal. Like, we're having a picnic. That's what cute couples do. And he's like, no, you're a woman. Yeah, he gets really upset and he's like, no, we can't see each other anymore. And she gets really upset. So when she leaves for the selection at her little goodbye ceremony, she sees that he has his arms wrapped around another girl. And she was like, oh, you stupid mother. She was like, why would he break up with me if his mom said that he had been really happy lately and was probably getting ready to propose to someone? And then it clicked. Oh, he actually wasn't going to propose to me. He's going to propose to this other girl that's in his cast. The minute I see that man, I'm gonna wind it up for him. So she leaves to the selection and she's like, so she's heartbroken from Aspen, and then she's also separated from her loved ones, and she's in this competition and she doesn't want to be there. She meets Maxon on like the very first night that she's there. Unintentionally, they run into each other in the garden, and it was like a very cute like thing. My biggest issue with this book, honestly, more than anything, is that I hate that the author is even trying to entertain the idea that there's any competition between Aspen and Maxon, because I'm sorry, there's not. Maxon is the king of consent. He is the perfect ideal of like anything a respectful, polite man should be. I guess the main reason why we're not supposed to like Maxon and why we're supposed to like be conflicted, quote unquote, between Maxon and Aspen is because Maxon isn't like fully committed to America, and he's still like going on dates with other girls. And like towards the end of the story, like especially in the elite, once it's down to I think 6 girls, he is going on dates with the other girls and like specifically, you know, like distributing his time between them. And America is upset that he won't commit to her while simultaneously slipping into back rooms and making out with Aspen. So I'm like, I don't feel bad for you. Because, and I'm sorry, I didn't mention it. She's like, honestly, like all in on Maxon. She's like, okay, yeah, like I can enjoy my time here. I'm kind of like catching feelings for you. But then all of a sudden, Aspen becomes a guard in the palace. America and Maxon are having a date together. They're walking to the movie theater, and then they see Aspen, who is on guard. And Maxon is like, oh, do you know this dude, America? And she's like, yeah, he's from my province. And he's like, oh, well, that's perfect. Someone you know. Why don't I make him your guard so you can have someone that you feel comfortable with, you know, protecting you? And she was like, sure. So the first night that Aspen is standing guard over America's room, you know what he does? He goes into her bedroom while she's asleep, rips her covers off her, and immediately starts making out with her. Like, in what world am I supposed to root for Aspen? That's a crime. That's a crime in like ethics, and the fact that like at no point during that encounter was he like, hey America, can I come in your room? Or, hey, America, do you mind if I kiss you? Or, hey, America, do you mind me being here? Oh, my God. There was no consent in any part of that conversation. So it's a crime in that aspect. And then also the fact that it's a literal crime because they tell her at the beginning of the book that she is essentially property of Ilya because she's in the selection. She's getting all these benefits, all this great stuff, right? So she has to abide by some rules. And part of that is that she has to maintain her purity, which, because a weird mechanic in this book, which like honestly did not need to exist, is that it's illegal to have premarital sex. And the reason I'm saying it's ridiculous is because she said that the reason that they outlaw premarital sex is to prevent people from having diseases, which doesn't make sense, and let me explain why. Because it comes up so frequently throughout the book that the king doesn't care about his citizens, so why would he care if they get sick or not? Like, it doesn't make sense. I feel like for all intents and purposes, it would benefit him to have people make kids. I think it's just supposed to be like a, oh my god, like she's so like petite, she's so pure, like she has no idea, like oh my god. It's just so, it's an added layer to the romance, which is so gross. Anyway, so it's incredibly wrong for Aspen to be doing that on multiple levels, and on top of the fact that he is essentially putting her in danger, because in the elite, and I will bring this up, in the elite, Marley, one of the girls that is in the selection and makes it like relatively far, she is exposed for having a relationship with one of her guards, and as a result is publicly caned and bumped down all the way to the 8th. Like she's an 8 now. And the punishment for that normally would be death. So despite seeing that, and despite knowing the risk, Aspen still tries to like get America alone and like kiss her and do all these things, despite knowing what would happen to her and him if they continued. God forbid he can't get a few smooches in every now and then. And then also, so she asks him like, hey, what about that girl in the square that you were like all up on, you were hugging her, whatever. And he's like, no, she fell. I was just helping her. And she believes it. Because then it's also like, well, who was he going to propose to? Why was he so happy and like supposedly going to get ready to propose if he was just going to break up with America anyway? Like that never gets explained. Like why the switch up? Why did he suddenly decide, oh, I don't want to be in a relationship with you? Like what happened that made him do that? It really isn't explained, which just leads me to believe that he in fact was cheating on her. But then she was picked for the selection and he was like, wait, now you're a 3 and now I'm a 2. So if I marry you, I'm still the provider and I'm still the man and I'm still above you in terms of the cast. So you have to get married to me now. In no world is Aspen a choice. There's no competition. First of all, Maxon is a prince. Maxon is rich. Maxon is incredibly kind, considerate, and despite not knowing what to do in front of crying women, is incredibly empathetic and acutely aware of every emotional need America has. Literally the king of consent, as far as I'm concerned. That could change in the last 30% of the one, but as far as I'm concerned, anything that he has ever done with America was with her express and explicit consent. He has never once like forced himself onto her. And he like, what also gets me is that throughout the book he says like, America, you say the word and I'll end this election right now. It's you or it's no one. Like I'm so prepared to choose you right now. So then me as the reader, I'm like, yeah, America, what's taking so long? It's absolutely unbearable how long it takes for her to pick Maxon, because she's like flip-flopping between Aspen and Maxon consistently, and the only times that she's ever like, okay, yeah, it's Aspen, is because she's like, oh, he's familiar. Like, so it's just weird. Like there's never a moment where you're like, oh yeah, I can definitely see why she would pick Aspen. It's ridiculous. It's really giving like, and I said this example to my sister and it made her laugh, it would be like asking Katniss to choose between Peeta and Gale after he schmilled her schmister. Is it really a hard decision to make? Aspen is just like all around really not a great guy. He's really not concerned with her safety. I mean, he is willing to like whisk her away and like make out with her knowing very well that she could die. Like really it's only because he's jealous of Prince Maxon, and Prince Maxon is like bodying him in every aspect without even knowing that he's competing with him. America told Maxon one time, and like she didn't even say like, oh yeah, they're like, my family struggled in poverty, you know, sometimes we didn't have enough food. Like she only implied it, and within the hour this man decided to cut all these paychecks. He lowered the amount that they were paying the families of the other girls in the selection to allocate those funds to give resources to the lower castes so that they could have food. It took one conversation with this girl and he was like, absolutely, I will do that. At this point, like she could tell him bark and he would be like, woo, like What more could she ask for? He is like the embodiment of all things good. And the only time where you're like, okay, he's not like that great of a person is just because she's jealous that he's dating other people. But he's like, well, you're not like committing to me. You're not making me feel like you want me. So unfortunately, I have to be prepared if you are not going to choose me. And it's so annoying because right now I'm in the middle of the one, right? And she's already decided that she's in love with Maxon, but she is just refusing to say it, intentionally refusing to tell him that she loves him because she wants him to say it first, despite the fact that he created a hunger relief program because of her, gave her family a lot of money, got a beating from his father because of her, and did so many other things. Like for her, it's really like, oh, I need to hear the words. Like it's not enough that your back is now disfigured from like lashings. It's not enough that, you know, you gave my family all this money. It's not enough that you've been sending them food and like really making sure that I have a good connection with my family because you understand that family is so important to me. It's not enough that you worry about my safety 24/7 and even had a guard that you knew was from my province to stand guard at my door because you knew I'd be more comfortable that way. Like I really am not feeling that you love me. Girl, move out of the fucking way. Let me have it. It's dragged on for so long for there to be no competition between Aspen and Maxon. I have yet, if I meet someone and they were like genuinely on Aspen's side, I have to admit you somewhere. I have to get a scientist to look at your brain, because why? Also, and I'm sorry, America's also just not a good person because she gets so jealous and possessive of Maxon and Aspen. There's like one part where she's like really upset about Maxon because he's like going on dates with the other girls, right? And then she gets mad at Aspen because he hasn't come by to see her, and she was like, where have you been, Aspen? And he's like, I'm working, Mare. The only fucking time that I was on Aspen's side, because I'm like, yeah, why does she expect him to be like at her beck and call? He's literally working. Yeah, so she is definitely like the center of her own universe. Overall, I would say that this book, I mean, the romance is pretty good in the first book. If you don't read the rest of the books, the first book will satiate you. Now, if you want to find out if America actually picks Maxon, you're in for another 2 books. And honestly, I'm not sure she'll pick by the end of this. We're 70% of the way through, and I have no idea if she's actually gonna tell him that she loves him. The writing for some of their like romantic scenes is pretty good. If you also ignore the really weird patriotism that is woven through the book, literally a full chapter where they explain the history of Ilya and how it came to be. It's weird. It's really weird. So the selection, I'm still going to maintain that it's a 4 out of 5. The entire series, I'm going to give it a 2. And that's just because it absolutely does not need to be 3 books. There's absolutely no competition between Aspen and Maxon. Also, their names are really similar and I don't like that. As the story goes on, I don't really like America. She wants Maxon to fully commit to her, and she refuses to tell him that she loves him if he won't send all the other girls home. And he's like, well, I'm not going to do that unless I know that you're sure and that you'll actually want a relationship with me. And she's like, well, I can't be sure of that if you still have other girls here, which is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous for her to like demand that he fully commit to her when she's literally kissing Aspen and having these moments with him on the side when she's not even fully committed to him. It's like, well, I can't fully commit to you if you're not fully committed to me. And then they just go back and forth. And it's absolutely ridiculous for that to be the main conflict for 3 books. It's so drawn out and it does not need to be. In terms of the actual romance, I was really rooting for America and Maxon at the beginning of the book. But after a while, I'm tired, man. I can't be a cheerleader forever. I can't be rooting for them if it's taking them like literally forever. And what bothers me more is that this is taking place, I'm gonna say, over the span of like 6 months. And it feels like years. Well, that was the selection. But before we wrap up this video, there is a new thing I want to introduce to the end of these reviews, because my beloved sister, again, it was my birthday, so I have a few gifts. She got me a book embosser. So I don't know if you can tell, I'm covering my government name right here. It's essentially a little stamp that you can put on the inside of books, and mine says from the library of Kristen. So I'm planning on stamping every single book that I read after I'm done reading and reviewing it. So I'm gonna do that now, actually. Oh shit, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna take the first page. I have to hold it down really hard. I'm really strong. I also think it's a crime. America is a redhead and they never once put her in a green outfit. Like, we know that redheads in emerald green is like top tier. There is not a single green cover. It's red, blue, and white. Oh my God, it's the colors of the American flag. Sometimes I'm too smart for my own good. Okay, I'm nervous to lift this, but I will. Can you see the stamp? I don't know if you can. You can see it better in the light. But either way, it is stamped. Either way, in my heart of hearts, I know it's stamped. I stamped it. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you liked it. I know it was super scattered, but again, I didn't expect to read the full series, and then I did. Feel free to read the selection. If you want to maintain your peace, you can read the first book. If you want to spiral, read the series. Overall, yeah, that was it. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked my unboxing and my brief history of the controversy of Kiera Cass. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments. Leave a like if you would like. Thank you so much for my 28 subscribers that I have already. It's a huge milestone. We're almost at 30. That's so crazy. I started with, well, I guess I started with 0, but we've come so far. So thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. Hope you liked it. I'm gonna finish my coffee. I'm gonna get Chipotle. I have to get my little free birthday guac that I have yet to redeem. So I'm gonna do that. I'm also gonna hang my poster in the background. I'm thinking here, even though you won't be able to see all of it. I need something here. I'm gonna post the poster there. And I also need to organize this so I can have a place for Petunia. This review was much longer than I had anticipated. I was only gonna sit in front of here for an hour, and I think tentatively it's been over that. Anyway, that's it.